Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of The Bullet. My name is Paul Lathrop. I am the Deputy Director of New Media for the Second Amendment Foundation. We're coming at you an hour earlier than we normally do for a Bullet, and I also have somebody with me, somebody you're used to seeing on Fridays, Tom Walls, Firearms Academy of Seattle. We wanted, because I was not able to broadcast last night, I wanted to bring you an extra broadcast to let you know what's been going on in news. And Tom said he'd come along with me, and who am I to turn down help? So, Tom, thanks for coming along today, man.
My pleasure, Paul. It's good to see you early and again.
All right, and we're going to be doing about 30 minutes here. We're going to be talking about a couple of news stories. Do about 30 minutes here, give or take, and then we'll come back in at our regular time, and we'll do Training Friday with Tom Walls, and we're going to be talking about single-handed fire today. So do come back for that when the time comes around in about an hour. So, Tom, what I want to talk about, two real big news stories over the last couple days. New Mexico, the Governor Grisham last weekend said we're suspending the Second Amendment in Albuquerque by executive order of the governor. Not even executive order of the president can do that, but today she walked it back a little bit. She says, well, we're just going to do it in parks where families are in particular danger. And I was browsing headlines today, and a lot of headlines about this. The Truth About Guns has a headline I just love. This is what it looks like when you get your ass handed to you. And I can say that because it's not one of George Carlin's 7 words. She truly did. David Hogg came out saying she went too far. And dude, if you've lost David Hogg, what else is there to lose in the gun control community?
Boy, she made a splash with that, didn't she?
She did.
I mean, that was, well, in my view, God, where do you start? Well, we start with the Constitution, because making that kind of law, oh my God, do you want to talk about Bruin? Do you want to talk about Heller, McDonald? Any of them? Well, I feel that we should probably do this, and not even my oath of office is absolute. And then if you can't depend on that, what word of a person can? I've had things in my life where I disagree with someone's actions pretty extremely, almost not to, but almost to the point of wanting to do violence. But I have to accept that they have the right to do that. And if I don't even support their right to do that, regardless of disagreeing with it, then I'm a hypocrite. So to say that, well, I don't feel that this is a good reason. And then you go on and say in the same presser, well, we know it won't do anything for the criminals, but is this anything other than an attention-getting stunt, a campaign for something? I mean, we could talk for hours. We could preach to the choir with the crowd that's listening today.
Yeah.
About what's the point of all this? You know, how are you gonna make bad people less bad by taking away good people's ability to protect themselves from bad people? But the cops, God bless them, law enforcement would get a buy on her original order, but they're using the same weapons to deal with the people that prey on us. So I am totally lost with the logic of that argument, which tells me that there isn't any on the surface.
I want to, if you don't mind, I want to get this, put this up. It's a 1 minute 49-second video of the original press conference where she says she's banning the Second Amendment, and the reason is that question is, do you expect the criminals to follow this? And she says no. But I want you to pay attention to the law enforcement officer on her right and the guy who I believe is a bodyguard on her left. They are none too pleased with this, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to run this, and we'll be right back. And I don't have sound for some reason. Why do I not have sound? Let me, I'll get to that in just a second.
While you're doing that, I did notice that the gentleman on the right side, well, her left, our right screen, is police, not sheriff. Make that distinction. I would stick my neck and assume that that is a senior police, so probably the chief of police, Albuquerque. I'll look at the patch back up. Remember that police chiefs are hired and appointed, not elected. That's his boss he's sitting next to. His job depends on his actions in that press.
It still looks like he's got a real bad case of constipation building.
Oh, yeah.
All right, I do believe I have it fixed, and we should have audio when I put it in, and here we go.
Make it so.
Yeah. But your point is valid.
You took a note of the Constitution. Isn't it unconstitutional to say you cannot exercise your carry license?
With one exception. And that is, if there's an emergency, and I've declared an emergency for a temporary amount of time, I can invoke additional powers. No constitutional right, in my view, including my oath, is intended to be absolute. There are restrictions on free speech. There are restrictions on my freedoms. In this emergency, this 11-year-old and all these parents who have lost all these children, they deserve my attention to have the debate about whether or not in an emergency we can create a safer environment. Because what about their constitutional rights? I took an oath to uphold those two. And if we ignore this growing problem without being bold, I've said to every other New Mexican, your rights are subjugated to theirs. And they are not, in my view.
You said about crimes. There are a lot of these crimes, so how are they
But again, if I'm unsafe, who's standing up for that? If this climate is so out of control, somebody should do something. I'm doing as much as I know to do.
Yep. Do you really think that criminals are going to hear this message and not carry a gun in Albuquerque on the streets for 30 days?
No. But here's what I do think. It's a pretty resounding message.
And I want to go back to that last question. Do you think criminals will put away guns for 30 days? She says, no. But here's what I do think. It sends a message.
I think somebody should do something, and I'm doing what I know how to do. There's two pieces in that. Do something, and then if she fails, well, I did something.
Yeah.
Which is more than whomever she's in opposition to. I'm doing what I know how to do. That's not something I'd be bragging about. Go ahead and admit in the same presser that it will do nothing. And that poor chief of police.
Oh.
His eyes were wandering. He's working his hands. You know, the body language is like, oh, God. He's probably counting up the years until retirement. What an uncomfortable position.
And even the bodyguard on the right looked like he was not. And I on her right, our left, looked like he was not entirely comfortable with what was going on there. So,
whoever it was, he was certainly not comfortable. Again, the body language was. Yeah, she was the only one that seemed happy with what she was doing.
Yeah.
In the entire state, with a few exceptions. Yeah, that was. That's going to be historic. I'm laughing not because I'm laughing because it's funny. I'm not taking away from the seriousness of it, but the fact that she thinks she could get away, she could add the word "except" somewhere in the Constitution after the Bruin decision, not even 2 years ago, made it very, very clear that the Second Amendment is subject to strict scrutiny. You can't have except what I think a better idea would be, or I'm trying to do something. There's no except. It either says it or it doesn't. You can't have a compelling reason to change the Constitution. It either says what it says or it doesn't say what it says.
Absolutely. I'm going to get a.
Tell me you've got more of that.
No, I don't. No, I do not. I could have. There was another press release, a press conference today, but I didn't. Doggone it! Where are we?
Well, today she doubled down. It was.
Yeah. There. Let me see if I can. I want to get a news story up. This is off of the. Nope, that's the wrong one. Where am I at? That's the one I want. This is off the Santa Fe, New Mexican, and I'm going to put this on the screen. The title of the story: Activists stage small plaza event in support of governor's gun ban. And there it is, 6 ladies. Count them, and it's easy. There's 6 ladies there in support of Governor Grisham's gun ban. And there were hundreds the day after Governor Grisham said no Second Amendment in Albuquerque or the surrounding county. There were hundreds that showed up with long guns and open carry handguns and holsters. But there were hundreds openly defying her.
And how many people got shot again at that event? None.
Same amount as got shot at the anti-gun event today.
To make it perfectly clear, I disagree completely. I can't find a more extreme word with what these ladies are saying in their support of the governor's mandate.
Right.
However, I totally support it. You have to support speech you disagree with. You can't say, well, I disagree with it, so we're not going to pay attention to that. That's something that the other side is doing also in a whole other series of news stories outside the scope of this. I couldn't help but notice the purple hair in one of the protests.
Yes.
Being as I have none to color, I'll just let that stuff.
You and me both, bud.
They have the right to do that, but they're wrong.
Oh, I think the old saying is, I disagree with what you're saying, but I'll fight to the death for your right to say it.
Absolutely.
And I very much believe in that.
Has to be that way.
Let me get
Don't go estimate campaign money.
some comments in here because we're getting some good ones. My take says it was a good reason to be armed, not disarmed. Yes.
I hate to say it, but yeah. That's why they wrote the thing.
And Warsaw Patriot, those women must want to live under a commune. And one more from Warsaw Patriot. Gun control and communism, a fantasy and total failure. It's always been a failure, and a failure on two levels, simply because number one is you have to have a way to fight back against a government, be it your own government, being an invading government, being, whatever it is. You have to have a way to fight back, or your country just folds. Number two, in the history of humanity, when has banning something ever worked?
It's worked wonderful for the people that do the banning.
Well, I'm thinking back to Prohibition and alcohol here in the United States. That gave us Al Capone.
Have you ever done any searching, looking, studying of the prison system and how many improvised weapons they turn up on a regular basis?
Oh yeah,
I had a friend that was working on the good guy side of the prison system, and they would regularly go into cells and turn up all kinds of stuff. That's as controlled an environment as you can find. And they have weapons, they have cell phones, and they have drugs. They can get it. Anybody can make that stuff. Remember zip guns from the 50s, or are you too young?
No,
Go down to the hardware store, $5 worth of hardware, you can make an improvised weapon. Banning the weapons is not doing it. It's behavior.
A year or two ago in Japan, the former prime minister was assassinated with a homemade firearm. You don't get any more gun control than you get in Japan. Not even England is as tight as Japan is.
That's like beyond ghosty guns. They come up with all these laws. Well, 20,000 is the number of laws you typically hear quoted, and I don't know the exact number. I'm sure it's not going down.
Yeah.
But those aren't doing it because, for one thing, it presupposes that it's like football. If we had a rule, then this can't happen, and it will change the game and the way it's played and the outcome. And we can make the outcome more the way we think it should be. Except that everybody agrees to play by the rules and then does. And the only thing that keeps some of them from disobeying those new rules are penalties. Well, criminals, by definition, don't play by the rules. And if there's a penalty, you have to have a prosecutor that will prosecute.
Yes.
A judge that will try, and a prison system that will keep them in. They ain't like us, Paul. They're not like us.
You're absolutely right. And you have to, I mean, I've been saying this for a while now. I honestly believe in the criminal mind, they don't ever expect to get caught, let alone be prosecuted.
I can concur. And having had it from the other side, exposure to a lot of recovering drug addicts, and more so working as a reserve police officer as I did. It's like, well, I don't plan on getting caught. As if that's enough to make it not happen. It's like, I don't plan to get in a car wreck.
Yeah, I'll have time to put my seatbelt on before a wreck.
Happen, but they don't plan on it. And perhaps by experience, they know how to work the system. We got a guy one time for a simple traffic stop. Or he had a warrant, because people with warrants tend to also be really crappy drivers. That's how a lot of them get caught with traffic stops. Where we got him, he pulled up in front of his own home, and as we're hooking him up, stuff him in the back of the cruiser, he's yelling at his girlfriend, "Call my bail bondsman." Paul, do you have your own bail bondsman on speed dial like this guy did?
No,
If you've not experienced it, it's literally beyond comprehension. First time I ever saw that, it was eye-opening, game changer.
one more from Warsaw Patriot here. Let me get this one up.
Or she.
Criminals know the justice/legal system, and they profit off crime all the darn time. When something is illegal, they'll make money off of it. Yeah.
Nobody else will provide the service or the goods. Going to jail is part of your career plan. It's a chance to get some medical care. Maybe add a few pounds of muscle. Learn some stuff at this junior college they call prison, or graduate school they call federal prison.
Speaking of prison and federal prison, shall we change topics?
It's your show, Paul. You change what you want.
Let's do that. Speaking of federal prison, one Hunter Biden has officially been charged with gun crimes. That actually happened yesterday, and he's facing gunfacts.info on Twitter put up a tweet, and he's facing between if he is convicted, previous convictions of the same crime he has been accused of, is, in my opinion, probably guilty of. Previous guilty verdicts have gotten sentences ranging from 10 months imprisonment, followed by 2 years supervised release, on up to 30 months in prison. Tom, I honestly believe the press secretary, Carrie Jean-Pierre Claude Van Damme, whatever her name is, she said that no, there is no possibility of the president pardoning his son. And when the president was asked at a press conference, he just, spun around 3 times, clicked his heels, and headed off stage without answering the question. If he's convicted, I don't even know if Biden's going to wait till a conviction. If things don't look good, he's going to pardon his son. That's my honest belief.
Well, there's no question in my mind that they could convict him. He wrote a book where he said he was actively using drugs as often as every 15 minutes during the period of time where he purchased this firearm, illegally possessed it, lied on the 4473 form, all of which are federal crimes.
Yeah.
But I was reading something that Alan Dershowitz wrote earlier today, and I wish I had written it down, but he's basically saying, oh, he's guilty. I mean, it's overwhelming. It's beyond preponderance of evidence, beyond any reasonable doubt. But if he pleads guilty and then contests something, oh, it's a violation of my Second Amendment rights or something else, if he's got a good attorney, and he surely will have one, he might be able to plea bargain it down. I'm not an attorney. I know a little bit about firearms law, just enough to get me in trouble, but I really doubt that he will do jail time. That's a personal feeling.
I want to get a quote in from Eric Pratt. Eric is the president of Gun Owners of America, and I want to get a quote in from him. Gun Owners of America opposes all gun control, but so long as this president continues to use every tool at his disposal to harass and criminalize guns, gun owners, and gun dealers, his son should be receiving the same treatment and scrutiny as all of us. And I think Eric Pratt hit it right on the head there. If this were Hunter Trump or Hunter DeSantis, he would be rotting underneath the federal penitentiary somewhere.
There are very, very, as you know, very few prosecutions for what Hunter apparently has been accused of. Interestingly enough, to segue, to put a bridge between the last story and this one,
yeah,
the Governor Grisham in New Mexico clearly does not care what her election chances are, because she's not due for election in the next cycle.
Yeah, she's term limited out.
And she's got David Hogue, for heaven's sakes, saying that what she's doing is unconstitutional. The Democrat Party sheriff of that county refused to enforce it. The state district attorney, the state attorney general, all of whom are of her own party, are disagreeing completely with her view that she can change the Constitution. So she's clearly not playing to the state of Mexico, New Mexico. I wonder if
the state of Mexico, maybe.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe that was Freudian, I don't know. But maybe perhaps she's playing for a federal level, because Biden is all about this gun control stuff. If she can attract attention at that level, would that open up a spot for her there? I've heard people speculate, even if for some reason, I can't imagine why, the Democrat wouldn't want Biden to run for re-election. But if they didn't need anybody, her name now has attention for the same platform, or if they don't want Kamala Harris as a running mate for whomever may run, to bring her name up for that. So in my crystal ball, I'm wondering if she's thinking more on a national level for her own career than the safety of people.
Yes, and I'm thinking she's thinking even longer term, and if it doesn't come about in the next few years with either, I'm thinking what the honest hope is she's hoping Biden bows, and then doggone it, brain just froze on me. Governor of California, Newsom gets the nod and chooses her. Or possibly in 5 years, she gets the nod herself.
Well, she certainly made a big enough splash and hit an emotional thing that got her all kinds of coverage on every news network I turned on and every news feed I have. It's gotten play, so she's gotten some tremendous publicity. And it happens to be along with the platform of the Democrat Party.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she's a person I would want to associate with, but she's not stupid. And she's a professional politician that made it to the governorship.
Yep.
So you can't discount the coincidence. You'd be very foolish to.
You don't, well, how do I put this? You don't make it to the governor's seat by being a total moron. You at least have to have smart people around you. And I'm going to say the same thing with election to the U.S. Senate. Fetterman out of Pennsylvania is not, after his stroke, is not the world's most intelligent person, but he's got a lot of really, really smart people around him.
Yeah,
And
it's definitely a team to get any public office.
yeah,
Witness our current president of the United States.
yeah, exactly. Before I get us blown off of YouTube, I think it's a good time for us to shut this one down and come back in about 34 minutes and talk about Training Friday. What do you think, man?
I think that's a great idea. I can refill my glass and wet my whistle. I think
All
I'll
right.
change to the house drink of maybe Reed's ginger beer. The house drink of Bronco Commander's ginger beer, by the way. So, we
Very
shall
cool.
see.
All right, I'm going to go get myself a fresh energy drink, and we will be back here and going live in 33 minutes and change. Come join us for Training Friday here in just a little bit. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you.